7 major life processes. And in our last lesson, we talked about 4. We talked about living things move. We talked about living things eat. We talked about living things prepare. They eat, that is, they prepare their own food and then they reproduce. So today we are going to continue with that lesson. But before we start, let's look at our homework that you were given. 1. Changing place or position. The answer is called movement. So living things move. And it's one of the life processes we talked about in our last lesson. So changing place, if you change your position from one place to another, you call it what? Movement. So living things move. 2. Increasing in size of a living thing is called growth. So when you grow, you become bigger and stronger. So increasing in size is called growth. Then the third one, mention any 3 life processes of living things. I remember we talked about 4, and I asked you to write any 3 of them. So living things eat, living things move, living things grow. And the last one we talked about is living things reproduce. That is, they produce young ones. Good. I hope you had all your answers right. Well done. Now let's continue with this lesson. Life processes of living things 2. So by the end of the lesson, you'll be able to state 3 life processes of living things. So I believe if you pay attention, you'll be able to state 3 life processes of living things we are going to talk about today. Now let's start the lesson. In the previous lesson, we said that life processes are things living things do to stay alive. Life processes are things living things do to stay alive. So human beings do these things, animals do these things, and then plants also do these things. So life processes are things living things do to stay alive. So the first one we are going to talk about, so this will be the 5th one. If we add it to our previous lesson, this is the 5th life processes. Living things need air. Living things need air. Living things breathe. That is, they take air in and out to live. So Kate, if you look at human beings, we breathe. As you see the man over there breathing, and we breathe through our nose. So some teacher will ask you, breathe in, and you breathe. Of the life processes of living things. If you stop breathing, you will die. So that means that you need air, and we breathe in and out air. You need air to live. Animals, plants breathe. Go through them one by one. Human beings breathe through their nose to live. Breathe through their nose. All human beings breathe through their nose to live. We take in oxygen. When you breathe in, you take in oxygen. And when you breathe out, you bring out carbon dioxide. So you take in oxygen and then you bring out carbon dioxide. You call that breathing. So we breathe through our nose. And what do we breathe in and out, Kate, is what? Air. So human beings breathe through their nose to live. We use our nose for that life processes. So we use that part of our body, that is nose, for that life process. Some animals breathe through their nose to live, like this dog, sheep, cats, goats. They all breathe through their nose to live. So animals also need air, just like us, to also live. Fish breathe through gills to live. Fish breathe through gills to live. We breathe through our nose. Fish also breathe, but they breathe through their gills. Gills help them to take oxygen out of water. Kate, the water that we drink contains oxygen, and the gills draw the oxygen out of the water and helps the fish to breathe. So if you don't have gills, you cannot breathe inside water. That is the reason why if you fall into any deep water, you struggle to breathe, because nose cannot be used to breathe in water. You have to get gills. So fish also breathe, but they breathe through their gills. And that is the gill that you see here. These are the gills. So they take in air and then they give out air using their gills. They don't have nose to breathe. They use their gills. We use our nose. Some animals use their nose, but fish use their gills to breathe. Plants also take air in and out through their stomata in the leaves. So, Kate, plants also breathe through their leaves. When you were in basic 2, we learned about the parts of plants. We said they have flowers, leaves, stem, and root. They use their leaves to breathe, and there's something in the leaf called stomata, and that is what you see here. You cannot see it when you take the leaf, but they also breathe through. They are small holes that you cannot see with your eye, but they breathe through that. They take in carbon dioxide and they use it to prepare their food, and when they prepare their food, they give out oxygen out, and this happens through their stomata. So we use our nose to breathe. Fish use their gills to breathe. Plants also use their stomata to breathe. Plants do not have nose. They have stomata, as you see here. So they breathe through their stomata, and this stomata is found on the leaves. The leaves. So plants also take air in and out through their stomata. So living things need air. Living things need air. And human beings and animals use the oxygen in the air to turn the food they eat into energy. So you see that the air that we breathe in is very important. It turns the food we eat, the oxygen, turns the food we eat into energy, so that we can use that energy to do our work. So human beings and animals use the oxygen in the air to turn the food they eat into energy. And you need energy to do a lot of things. You need energy to walk to school. You need energy to learn. You need energy to write. You need energy to play. And all this can happen when we take in air into our body. So human beings and animals use the oxygen. Oxygen is air, to turn the food they eat into energy. Good. Let's look at the next life processes. Living things remove waste. Living things remove waste. Yes. Human beings and animals and plants remove waste from their body, and we call that excretion. We call that excretion. So this is how, on your screen, this is how human beings remove waste from their bodies. Waste. So if you look at the first man here, this man is sweating. This man is sweating. And sweating is one of the means of removing waste from our bodies. Sweating is one of the means. So the sweat is excess water and salt in your body. They pass through your skin and then they come out. So when you remove waste from your body, it can come as a result of sweating, as this man is sweating. So the sweat contains water and salt. So if you taste sweat, you will see that sweat is salty. So that is excess sweat, excess salt and water that your body does not need. So sweating is one of the ways of removing waste from our bodies. If you look at this boy here, this boy too is urinating. And urinating is also one of the ways we remove waste from our bodies. There's a part inside you called kidney. This kidney will take out all the bad things in any liquid that you take. Anything that you take inside your body, it will sieve it and then it will bring the waste out as a form of what? Urine. So urinating, anytime you feel like urinating, it means you are going to remove some waste from your body. The next one is defecating. Defecating. So you see this boy on a toilet seat. So when you eat, the unwanted food that your body does not need comes out in the form of feces or toilet. So defecating is also a way of removing waste from our bodies as human beings. So if you are a human being, you do not sweat, you cannot urinate, you cannot defecate, you will die. Because those waste, if they stay inside your body for a long time, it will harm your body and you will die. So sweating, urinating, and then defecating are ways human beings remove waste from their bodies. Good. Now let's look at how animals remove waste. So you see this dog urinating. So as we saw a human being urinating, dogs also urinate, and it's a way of removing waste from their bodies. So dogs also remove waste from their bodies by urinating. Look at this mouse also defecating. That is going to toilets, bringing out some feces. It's a way of removing waste from the body of the mouse. So animals also urinate and defecate or go to toilets to remove waste from their bodies. Plants also remove waste from their body. How? Okay, it's when plants make their food, they bring out oxygen as waste. And as I told you from the beginning, oxygen is air, and the leaf is responsible for bringing out this oxygen. And we have something in the leaf called the stomata that takes in air and air out of the body or the plant. So when they cook, so you see the plant here cooking and you see some vapor coming out. So we can say that this is oxygen coming out. And this oxygen is what we also take in as human beings in order for us to live. So plants also bring out oxygen as waste when they cook. So plants also bring waste from their system. Good. Let's look at the next one. Living things are sensitive. Living things are sensitive. And Kate, sensitivity is also a life process of living things. When we say sensitive, what do we mean? Human beings have 5 senses that help them to notice, that is, feel or see changes around them. So when we say sensitivity, it helps you to feel or see changes around you. Sensitivity. When I use a perfume on my body right now, very soon you will smell the scent. That is an example of sensitivity. Which parts of your body help you to notice that smell? That is your nose. So human beings and all living things have certain things that help them to see or feel changes around them. So let's start with human beings. We have five senses. Five senses. The first one is nose. You have the eye to see. You have the skin to feel. You have the ear to hear, and then tongue to taste. So you use your nose to smell, eye to see, skin to feel. If I step on a sharp object, I'll feel that I have hurt myself. If I step on any fire, it will hurt me because I feel it. If there is any noise around, I will hear it. If I put anything in my mouth, I can taste whether the thing is salty or the thing has too much sugar. So we use these following senses to see or feel changes around us. So as we said, nose to smell things, eyes to see things, and then ear to hear things. And that makes us sensitive to our environment. That makes us sensitive to our environment. If you are in class and you hear the bell for change lesson or break, you can hear it. As you see the bell here, you can hear it because you are sensitive. You have a part called ear that helps you to hear things. You can see things. When your teacher writes something on the board, as you even watch these lessons, you are watching these lessons with your eyes, and that makes you sensitive. I believe if you are going to school and then on your way you see a very big hole in front of you, you just jump into the hole. No. Because you have eyes and that makes you sensitive, you can sense that there's a hole here. So let me pass by the hole. Or if you can jump, you can even jump by not falling into it. So nose, eye, ear help us to be sensitive to our environment. You also have the tongue to taste things. So if you look at your tongue, it is divided into parts. The tip of your tongue here, the tip here, is used to taste sweet things. The one shaded red, as I'm showing you, it is used to taste sweet things. So if you put anything in your mouth and that thing is sweet, this part of your tongue will sense it. If it is too salty, if I cook for you and the food is too salty, this part of the tongue will feel it. This part, the yellow part, will feel it, that this food is salty. If I taste anything that is sour, like taking an orange or taking a lemon, these things have sour taste, and the blue part of your tongue will feel it. This part of your tongue will feel it, not this part or this part. And if I put anything in my mouth, like medicine, that is very bitter, this part getting to your throat, that is where bitter things can be felt on your tongue. So even the tongue that you have is divided into parts, and that makes you sensitive. So being sensitive is a life process of living thing. So you see how God created your tongue with parts to taste different kind of things. The next one is your skin. It helps you to touch things, and by touching things, it helps you to feel what is around you. So this frying pan is on fire. Which part of my body will tell me that this frying pan is hot? It is my skin. If I touch it with any part of my skin, like my hand, my foot, any part of my body, I will feel that I am feeling something hot or my body has touched something hot, and it's as a result of your sense organ called skin. So we have 5 senses. As you said, we have 5 senses: the nose, the eye, the skin, the ear, and then the tongue. They help us to know or see or feel things around us. So the nose helps us to smell things, eyes to see things, ear to hear things, the tongue to taste things, and the skin to touch things. And that makes us sensitive. So remember that human beings have 5 senses. Animals also use their senses to see, hear, taste, touch, and smell what is around them. So we have nose, skin, ear, eyes, the same way animals also have some. And if you look at this dog, one of the most powerful sense organs of dogs is their nose. A dog can smell different types of scents within a short time that you human being cannot even smell it. See how their nose is. They can smell and the smell will come out from the other part. They can smell things and it will come out. That is why if you watch movies, you said that you can see you have sniffing dogs. They can use them, the security can use them in their investigations. So one of the powerful sense organs of dogs, the dogs that we have at home, is their nose. They can smell a lot of things. So when you are taking your dog out, or when a dog is moving out to a place that is unknown to him, I believe you remember what they do. When they reach any place, they will urinate. Then they reach another tree, they will urinate on the stem or the base of the tree. They go, they urinate. Why do they do that? When they are coming back, they will use their nose to smell their urine, and that will lead them home. So dogs use their nose very well because that sense organ is very powerful. They also have tongue to taste, they have eyes to see, they have ear to hear, and they also have skin. Good. Some animals use certain sense organs to see and feel what is around them. If you take an ant, the ants, you can see that these ants have eyes. But the most powerful sense organ of ants are their antennae. What you see here on top of their head, their antennae, they use that a lot because that is their powerful sense organ. If you look at snakes, their sense organ is their forked tongue. This is how the tongue of a snake looks like, and they are always bringing it out because that is what helps them to sense things around them. Though they have eyes, but they use their tongue a lot because that is the most powerful sense organ they have. So some animals use certain sense organs to see and feel what is around them. Plants also feel and see changes in their environment. And this mimosa plant, I hope you have seen this plant before. You touch it and then the leaves will curl up. You touch it, then it will curl up. That's one sensitive plant that we have around, mimosa plants. So living things are sensitive. That is, they see and feel changes around them. They feel and see changes around them. We are almost at the end of this lesson on life processes of living things. And as I said, we have 7 life processes. The last time we met, we talked about 4, and today we have added the 3. So in this summary, we are going over all the life processes we have talked about from the previous lesson. So the first one is that living things can move. They can change their location. They move from one place to another. So living things move, and it's one of the life processes that they have. Living things eat. They eat so that they can live. So living things eat, and we call that nutrition. When you talk about nutrition of living, we are talking about the food and eating of living things. They eat. Living things grow. They grow. So in our previous lesson, you saw a cat growing, you saw a baby growing into a big boy, and then we have plants too. Seeds also grow into big plants. Living things need air. We breathe in air through our nose and air out through our nose. If you cover your nose right now for a long time, you will die because you need air. Animals also need air. Plants also need air. 5. Living things remove waste. That is what you call excretion. Living things remove waste. So human beings remove waste through urinating, through sweating, and through defecating. As you see the boy here removing waste from the body. Living things reproduce. That is the 6th one. Living things reproduce. So you see the dog here with its young one. That's the puppy. So living things produce young ones. And the last one is living things are sensitive. They have sense organs. Human beings have 5. Eye, you have the eye here, you have the ear, you have the tongue, you have the nose, you have the skin for touching, eye for seeing, ear for hearing, tongue for tasting, nose for smelling. These are the 5 organs that help us to see and feel any changes around us. So these are the 7 life processes of living things. Good. Now, Kate, let's test ourselves on the life processes of living things as usual. 1. How many life processes do living things have? How many life processes? You have 5, you have 6, you have 7. Good. The answer is 7. We have 7 life processes of living things. 2. Taking air in and out of a living thing is a life process called taking air in and out of a living thing. It's a life process called, you have respiration, you have excretion, you have sensitivity. So we say sensitivity, you feel around, you feel changes around you, excretion, removing waste. So the answer here is what? Respiration. Respiration means taking air in and out of a life or an animal or a living thing. So the answer is respiration. 3. Living things producing young ones is a life process called, so you see the cow there with a calf, a young one, and you can see a plantain there with also young ones. And this life process is called reproduction. Good. This life process is called reproduction. 4. If you can hear your school bell ringing for break time, then this life process is called, if you can hear your school bell ringing for break time, then this life process is called, you have excretion, you have sensitivity, you have respiration. Good. The answer is sensitivity. You can hear that with your ear, and your ear is one of the sense organs. 5. If you sweat in a hot weather, like how this man is sweating, the sweating is a life process called, you have respiration, you have excretion, you have sensitivity. Good. The answer is excretion. Wonderful. You have all done well, my lovely kids. But as usual, let me leave you with this homework. 1. How many life processes do living things have? How many life processes do living things have? We talked about some in our previous lesson and this one too, so just add them. How many do we have? 2. Sweating and urinating belong to a life process called, sweating and urinating belong to a life process called and you put the answer there. And then 3, mention any 3 sense organs of a human being. Mention any 3 sense organs of a human being. We have 5 sense organs, so you mention any 3 of them. So this is your homework. Make sure you do it, and I trust that you will get all the answers correct and made your parents and I proud for paying attention to this lesson. Kate, we have come to the end of this lesson. Until we meet again next time, this is your teacher, Ernest Atto Benton. Bye-bye.